Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. Today we're going to finish up this weekend's special selections, which is where somebody tells me exactly what they want me to check out, and I do it. Today's selection comes at us from Alex Armstrong. Says it was a hard decision. There's so many songs I'd love for me to react to, but decided on the Contortionist Flourish. And thanks so much for the videos, and I appreciate you giving back to your supporters. All right. So here we go. The Contortionist. Interesting title. Have we checked them out before? I don't know. The name sounds familiar, but I just went through the spreadsheet and updated it, so there's a chance I could have seen it in there as well. I don't know. Let's get into this, see if anything sounds familiar. Dang, just getting right in there. Wow. Really cool. Oh, I thought those were harmonic overtones, but I think that's an electronic thing now. Nice little halftime feel. Lots of variety in the music quality here. Interesting thing happening way down in the mix with what sounds to be a keyboard. Yeah, lots of brightening up right here. Weird time signature there. I didn't catch it in time to figure out what was going on. Can't say I was expecting this at all, given how we started this track. Yeah, this is gorgeous. Little flourish is happening underneath. Real nice. Yeah, great way to bring that back. using tremolo picking to really increase the intensity of the section. Tremolo picking on the bass kicks. Obviously not the same concept though. Ramping up the note speed. Yeah. Alright, adding an extra beat there to make it feel a little odd. I think that part was in 6, but instead of sticking with 3 beats per idea, it was 4 or 2 and alternating. Alright, that was very interesting. As far as some of the heavier, harsher stuff goes, I'm going to say that is probably more inside my wheelhouse than some of the stuff we've checked out in the past. I'm not 100% sold on the vocals, but a lot of what's going on musically is very interesting. It has a tone and a sort of rhythm and a flow throughout the song, the entire song as a whole, that really just kind of resonates with me. I want to check out more of these guys immediately, but it's not as strong as some other bands in the past, like when we checked out, Native Construct and Vintersea and Between the Buried and Me. Some of these bands I needed more of. This is something that I want more of. It's not as strong of a resonation. That's not a word. It doesn't resonate as strongly, but it does resonate with me. There's a lot of things in here that I really love. One thing I do want to focus on is, and I feel like we've been talking about this a lot lately, it seems to be a sort of recurring theme for some of the stuff we've checked out recently, is layering and embellishment. I feel like they have at least 3 guitars. This would be really difficult to pull off with less than 3 guitars live. You would be doing a lot of secondary tracking for the studio mix, and then you would have to have a backing track doing this live, because there's just so much going on in some of these sections. If we specifically point out the chorus, it might not be the chorus, it was the part that was repeated a couple of times. But you have your main guitar riff that's going on behind the singer who's doing his growls and stuff. But then there's a lot of stuff going on underneath it, and not a lot of it is, or I should say some of it isn't even very present in the mix. It's very muted, way down on the mix. Almost sounds like some electronica stuff. It could very well just be a keyboard though. There's little runs and flourishes going on there. Besides your main guitar riff, there's usually 1, maybe 2 backup guitars that are playing what I would say is ornamentation around the core riff. They're not necessarily doing, they're not playing chords under it. It's not typical rhythm guitar stuff, but it's more, I would say, sparse melody lines. where maybe they would play for 2 or 3 beats and then take a little break and really put like this little bit of ornamentation here in this line and here in this line, but nothing really in the middle. Um, just really cool flourishes. I had to do it. Really cool musical flourishes to kind of accent specific sections of the main guitar line and the vocal line. And we see this present all throughout, especially during what I think is the best part of the song, easily, is the middle section. We see a ton of work with layering and sort of ornamentation where you have your key guitar part and then you also have guitar parts going on behind it, as well as some sort of keyboard electronica thing that, again, for some reason was just very muted in the mix. It was really hard to key into, and the fact that it popped up randomly for short spurts made it even more difficult to hone in on without being able to sort of rely on it popping up, say, the first beat of every other bar or something, where I could just like, okay, it's coming, let me listen for it. You really got to pay attention to it all the time, and if it's not popping up, you're losing detail from the things that are playing. For a first time listen, obviously, the more times you listen to it, you can really hone in on one specific sound at the expense of others if you're specifically wanting to figure out what's going on with it. But as a first time listen, I had to kind of give up on trying to hear its parts specifically just because it was so infrequent and unreliable as far as timing goes that I was kind of losing a lot of the context of the track by focusing on trying to find this one sound. Um, but the other thing that really stands out to me, other than sort of their experimentation with melody and the way that they can embellish it and kind of add some cool lines to it, is their depth and diversity. We came in hard, heavy, with some interesting time signatures, some cool runs, very technical playing. Um, it was, I don't know how I would describe, maybe like gent plus metalcore. There were definitely quite a few. There was one section I think specifically that kind of gave me like old school Bullet for My Valentine vibes, like mid 2000s metalcore, like the stuff that I kind of get the feeling a lot of people trash on these days. But there was also a lot of super technical aspects that reminded me more of stuff like Dream Theater or Periphery or Tesseract, kind of getting some more of that like technical, genty prog stuff going on. And it's just they had both of those like extremes of metal. Um, but then they also brought it back and did some really cool, almost like atmospheric rock stuff. And the only thing that I don't really see a lot of, well, in this song specifically, we didn't really see a lot of diversity in the singing style. I think there were 6 clean words spoken as we were entering into the atmospheric section. I would have liked more of that, just as even more contrast. I would have even liked a little bit of the mashup because what we had the the heavy and aggressive, and then the atmosphere, and then we came back with heavy and aggressive, and I would like to see a little bit of a mixture of those. Um, let's get some of that atmospheric playing behind the heavily rhythmic sections throughout the rest of the song. Let's pair some of those growls with some cleans, some of these ideas. I think it was a really good introduction to the contortionist, assuming that this is kind of what they play, because I got to see so many facets of them separate. I don't know if they are usually the type to combine these different inspirations, but I do enjoy how they are multifaceted individuals and not only compose but also play music from so many different styles, at least styles of rock and metal. We didn't really see anything outside of metal really incorporated into this too much, but that is fine. Like I said, it already has a lot of meat on its plate. There's a lot of really good stuff in here to dig into on its own without really getting into pulling in other ideas. That isn't to say that I don't think they couldn't. I think they're very talented musicians, very talented writers, and I would love to see just randomly, introduce a little bit of, bossa nova in here, or, straight up swing, or some classical elements, or whatever. I think they could do that if they wanted to. I don't know what they intend to do with their music. I don't know what their goal is with their music. Maybe they just want to write really cool metal that has influences from a wide breadth of metal genres, and that's fine. I like I said, I enjoy it one way or the other. If they could introduce other elements outside of metal, that would be awesome. But also, just like I said, what they're already delivering is more than enough content to just really dig in. This song alone, I could probably get another 4 or 5 listens out of, and still hear new things regularly. Like every listen, I would hear something new. After that, I don't know. There's certainly a lot here, but I don't know if there would be that much. But still, hearing new things on 5 listens is, I mean, that's still pretty good. That's still pretty good. And even at the end of the day, even after you know everything that's coming and it's lost all of its novelty, so to speak, it's still a killer track that has a lot of cool elements in it, that kind of combines them all in interesting ways and adds little pieces of flourish on top of all the main lines. And what more could you really ask for in more or less kind of a kind of straightforward metal song? We kind of go with the standard verse chorus bridge chorus kind of idea here. There is a couple of variations after the atmospheric section, but for the most part, this is a fairly standard metal song as far as composition goes. But it's really about how they bring all the ideas together, which is really neat. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, this is something that I am gonna want to be hearing more of. It's right up my alley. It's not hitting me as strongly as some of the stuff we've checked out, but it's definitely hitting me stronger than some of the heavier stuff that we've done on the channel. I guess specifically, if I were to ask for new recommendations from the Contortionist, it would be anything that kind of adventured more into contrast. Like I said, I think they did a really good job contrasting the soft and atmospheric versus the heavy and rhythmic. But I'd also like to see some contrast in the vocal work. I don't know if they do that, but that would be sort of the icing on the cake for me. Is putting some clean vocals in there, not only just to contrast sections, but also as harmonic layers, and kind of getting that texture combination between his growls and some cleans. Like I said, it's not necessary, but that would be the icing on the cake for me. And I don't even know if they do it, but that would be what I would look for in if the band was specifically tailored for me. So if you know any more Contortionist songs I should be checking out, hit me up in the comments, let me know. You can also let me know your thoughts on the Contortionist song Flourish, and if you enjoyed it or not. Above the comment section is a description box with some links adjacent to the channel. If you're interested in anything such as my Patreon, my Twitter, or some videos that YouTube has blocked, you want to see some reactions that have been blocked on YouTube, there's a link down there to gain access to them. Alright, that wraps this one up. I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, starting the first week of the month as usual. Special selection. We'll be doing more of these. We're going to finish up the premium. There's 5 premiums left, Monday through Friday. And then starting Saturday, we're going to be getting through the standard special selection list, which is not super long. I think we're only at 70. So, yeah, pretty excited about that. Like, getting through the premium alone is good for me. That's going to be good enough. That's gonna huge weight off my shoulders, kind of. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I said we're gonna start that up, and I'm gonna try to. No, I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna say that. All right. Until next time, you guys stay safe out there. Keep being awesome, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.